Hey everyone, Beast here once again. So in one of my previous videos, you guys voted if I should do Mech TVT guide, or build order, or to do a Sky Terran against Protoss very early on, which means kind of like opening fast 2-3 base and going straight into Battlecruisers. So not going bio, not going Mech, just going straight into Battlecruisers. So this is a build order, and I'll give you guys some tips what you can do as we go slowly and progress into the game. So this game I'm playing against AI, as you can see on top, because I couldn't actually find a real game where I did this build recently, but a lot of people have been asking about this in TVP specifically, so I decided to go ahead and do a guide on it. Recently on my stream, you guys probably saw I've been kind of trolling with Battlecruiser rushing, but this is actually a legit build, and this is a build TY has used in his games, in his ladder games and professional games, so it is a legit build. It's not the best thing you can do, but it is very possible to, win with it, especially if you're playing ladder and no one knows that you're going to go for this. So the build order for this is basically you want to be walling off with your supply depot, following it up with barracks and then gas. So this is not a gas first build, and the reason for that is you don't necessarily need to rush out battlecruisers. The thing that you want to rush out is the third command center, because if you're going to go for mass battlecruisers, you're going to need a lot of economy to actually, be able to support that. So what I like to do with this build is I like to start with a Marine. I've seen people open Reapers or Reactors first. My personal preference is what I suggest to you guys. Open with a Marine. You can shoo away the probe. You can scout with that one Marine, around your base to check if there's any proxies like here or here. So you kind of get more info for 50 mineral cost, which is not much. And you can see the CC on the natural is going up. And after the Marine is out, I make a reactor, supply depot, and then with next 100 gas, I will be making a factory. After the factory starts, I'll be making a second gas. One thing I want to say is, you guys can see that I didn't scout this game, and I usually don't scout when I do a Marine first opener. But if you guys feel more safe, and if you're new to this build or this kind of playstyle, I suggest you scout with an SCV around 17 supply, just to make sure that Protoss is not one-basing you or proxy targeting you or something like that. The reason why I like this build and it transitions well into battlecruisers is because it's very safe. So with the reactor barracks very, very early, you'll be able to pump out a lot of Marines. You have the factory, you're going to go get starport, and nothing will be able to actually just straight up kill you. Now, when the CC finishes, get an orbital. When the factory finishes, what I like to do is make 3 Widow Mines, and basically want to position them in random spots or in mineral lines or random spots against oracles. If there's no oracles, you want to be moving those Widow Mines to like the corners of your base in case there's a war prism or anything like that. As we go, you'll see that this build is super, super safe, and there's not really anything that can kill you as long as you're not completely caught out of position. So what I like to do is I like to hold my Marines where my production base is, so in my main base, kind of like around here, and then if an Oracle comes, you can defend with those Marines. Meanwhile, I put the Widow Mine on the natural base to cover the Oracles in case Protoss is going for that. And I will keep pumping on Marines. I'm making Vikings first out of the starport, and I will make another Widow Mine just to be extra safe. And at this point, you kind of want to use your production buildings, but not make anything specific at this point. You can see the second Widow Mine, I placed it around this position, just in case, sometimes Oracles flies from this way, and you can get a pretty good, lucky pick-off, I guess. Now, since I have 11 Marines, I put 6 on the natural to kind of support this Widow Mine, and then in the main base, you can see I have a Viking. I'll pause here for a second. I have a Viking, and there's 5 Marines here, so if an Oracle would come, I have plenty of units to defend any kind of harass and deflect what a Protoss is doing. Now with the third Widow Mine, what I like to do is I just put it out on the map, kind of like on a random spot, because the easiest way to actually just kill an Oracle or hit a Phoenix with a Widow Mine is just putting it in random positions. You know, if you place it here or there, the Widow Mines are pretty obvious, but if you place a Widow Mine like here or even here, it has a lot higher chance to actually hit the Oracles. Now, after this, you can see that I'm still continuously making Marines. I'm adding a third CC because, like I said, you need a fast 3 base in order to pump out Battlecruisers. And after the Viking is done, I like to make a Raven. Now, there's two reasons for this. First of all, this build, like I said already, is super safe. Raven will obviously help you with Dark Templars, if the Protoss is going for that. It will help you with any kind of War Prism drops, because you can use the auto turret to help soak up the damage for Marines. And at the same time, it will help you kill the Observers, because it's very important for you to deny the Protoss from knowing that you're going for Battlecruisers that early. After the third CC is placed, I go double gas on the natural, because you want to ramp up the gas income to be able to produce Battlecruisers. And I make 3 siege tanks. So, quick note to remember is you make 3 Widow Mines, then you make a tech lab on the factory, and then you make 3 siege tanks. The reason why you add siege tanks is you won't be doing any kind of push. You just need siege tanks to deal with mass blink stalker pushes that can actually just straight up kill you. If you have like just Battlecruisers and the Protoss is going for like 8 gate blink stalkers, you will die. And siege tanks with the splash damage will do really well against blink stalkers. Now I'm making an engineering bay here, and the third CC is done. So what I'll do is I'll slowly establish my third base, slowly move everything to there. And once the engineering bay is done, I will be making a couple of missile turrets, because you don't want War Prisms running into your base. And at this point, you don't need minerals that much. So as you can see, I'm making 2 more starports. So I want to have 3 starports in total. The mining here is going perfect. I'm transitioning to my third base, and I like to make 2 Liberators in order to siege up near my third base, or natural, depending on what map you're playing, because it just gives you a little bit of extra protection if Protoss is going for any kind of timing. You can see there's a lot of Widow Mines, and what I'll do after this third siege chain pops up, I will swap the factory onto the reactor, the starports onto tech labs, fusion core is coming up, and you can see there's turrets, there's Viking Raven defending, excuse me, and on the third base, the moment you land, you want to be grabbing the double gases as well. Make sure you're not supply blocked to continuously make your units, and from now on, I will also be starting to produce Widow Mines. The reason for that is Widow Mines are super cheap, and the splash damage that they deal will help you defend against anything, so there's simply no reason not to. They almost cost no gas, and you will have the extra mineral income, so you might as well make them. Fusion core is done. 3 starports, you can see 3 Battlecruisers popping up, and this is around 720. You want to be starting your first 3 Battlecruisers. And if you look at this position, no matter what Protoss is going for, he's not going to break this with a lot of blink stalkers or depths. It just will not happen. And the reason why you make siege tanks and Liberators is because this build is vulnerable to a lot of timing pushes, and I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that you struggle to actually defend the first or the second big push that Protoss does. Now, because of a lot of mineral income, I'm making more turrets, because you simply don't need minerals with this. You don't have a mineral dump for anything, so the only thing you can actually make is Widow Mines, command centers, and missile turrets, so might as well, right? Against Protoss, when I go for mass Battlecruiser strats, I only make 1 armory, because Protoss units deal high amounts of damage, but they shoot very slow. So if you get armor, you don't really get a lot of value from it, compared to if you play it against Marines, or perhaps Hydralisks that shoot pretty fast. The armor upgrade will come pretty handy in your games. Now, the Yamato Cannon is done. You want to be getting that pretty early, because it's free one-shotting of basically almost every unit. The 4th CC is coming up. You see I have a bunch of Marines that will be soaking any kind of damage if Protoss is going for any kind of push. I'm still making battlecruisers another round, and what I suggest you guys to do is with the first 3 battlecruisers, move across the map, try to fly above like dead airspace so you don't get caught and you kind of just lose them, and just go into Protoss base, just Yamato and kill whatever you can and just blink out. So I'm trying to show you this as like me playing against an AI, so obviously it's not a real player, but this is what I would do. You know, go around here, maybe Yamato the mothership core, maybe if he has Stargates, you know, kill the pylons that where he's making Tempests with, or powering up the Stargates, and kind of just use the Yamato cannons. There's no reason not to, because like I said, it costs nothing and it's free damage. Even if you pick off 5 probes, Yamato the Stalkers and leave, it's still worth. You didn't lose anything. Meanwhile, back in my base, I'm making 2 more starports because my 4th base is finishing and I will have enough gas for 4 port battlecruiser production. I'm still making Widow Mines. +1 is almost done. What you want to do is make sure your bases are covered with sensor towers so you can move this Viking and Raven to deal with War Prism, even though you have a lot of missile turrets. I'm making more and more command centers. If you look, there's one in the natural here, there's one in the main. I'll be adding more soon. I'll be adding CC here as well, and that's simply because, yeah, you might as well. You want to make sure you continuously expand. You don't want to stay behind in expansions. Just continuously expand. Use command centers as planetaries. So what I like to do on this map, for example, once I take the gold, I make a planetary here because it defends this position, and also Protoss from moving into this area. This is how your defensive setup should look like. I wanted to, you know, play this out even though it was against AI. Kind of like how I would set up my units, just so you can have an idea how you want to be defending. Protoss pushes early on. So you can see I made 2 bunkers. These obviously don't have stim. They're just there to soak up the damage. 1 missile turret here just to kill up the observer, sensor tower because you want to keep track of his units. There's 2 Widow Mines here, you know, 2 here. There's going to be 2 here burrowed. Siege tanks, marines. So if the Protoss attacks from any side, if it tries to blink in, it simply won't work because there's too many Widow Mines, too many siege tanks. There's 2 Liberators, which is also going to, you know, mess with his brain because Protosses do not like Liberators. And there's a couple of bunkers to soak up the damage, not to mention the planetary. Now, from here on out, the game plan is pretty simple. You want to maintain the ship weapons upgrade going. You don't want to stop that. It's extremely, extremely important. You get the upgrades continuously going. Soon, I would like to get like missile turret range upgrade in the engineer bay, just to kind of prevent the war prisms, because like I said, the war prisms are very, very hard to deal with if you're going with the playstyle like this. So make sure you kind of shut that option down for the Protoss player. And from here on out, I mean, just keep making battlecruisers. Try to identify what a Protoss is going for. If he's going for a mass ground army, kind of just don't overcommit, don't push across the map, get caught off guard. Your goal is to max out on battlecruisers, and as you're reaching the max out, you can sacrifice all these marines, make more BCs, and slowly push across the map and kill the Protoss. Now, if the Protoss is going straight into air, every time he attacks, what you want to be doing is Yamato, use 2 Yamato cannons on a carrier or 2 Yamato cannons on the Tempest, because that will kill the Tempest or the carrier. 1 Yamato is not enough. And make sure to practice your battlecruiser blink micro. It's extremely important that you do not lose battlecruisers. You simply can't afford to. Even if you're fighting against a blink stalker army or Tempest, it doesn't matter. If you bleed out your battlecruisers and lose them, you will end up simply losing because he will outproduce you, and you cannot replenish battlecruisers easily because they do take 64 seconds to build. So every time you're attacking, for example, if I used these battlecruisers right here to attack, obviously the first 2 are going to be targeted, so kind of be ready in advance to blink them back. And if the Protoss is fighting here, just blink them here, blink the battlecruisers back, repair them with SCVs, and then send them back into the fight. From here on out, like I said, keep making battlecruisers. I would expand here soonish, make a planetary here, make some missile turrets here. Don't get caught off guard by Protoss unit movements. You need to make sure that you're on point. I want to mention that this kind of strategy will not work on every single map. You want to be playing on maps that's very easy to take 3 bases and kind of transition into 4th safely. So for example, I would not suggest you guys to play this on Ascension to Ire because the bases are really far apart. So you'll kind of have hard time following the Protoss units around. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new today. I love using Battlecruisers because they're just a fun unit, and I think they're very underused, especially against Protoss. And if you do manage to get to like the ultimate late game with Battlecruisers, you should be able to win against Protoss late game. You can add a couple of Ravens with PDDs later on to deal with Tempests. You can always use the Mass Widow Mine to also kind of zone out the Protoss air army, which you can see down on my stream pretty often since I've been rushing Battlecruisers quite frequently. But that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I upload videos every single day, whether it's a gameplay video, an insane challenge video, a guide, or just kind of like community updates from Blizzard, map previews, and so on. Have a good day, and I will see you guys next time.